Hi there, museum friends and families. It's Miss Teal from the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum. I've just been enjoying the etching that I have by an artist named Kathleen. Today, you and I are going to be doing some printmaking with things you already have around your house. I'm going to be doing two projects actually. One for my very youngest artist and one for children about 6 years old and up. This is a self-portrait of me, Miss Teal. It was made with a process called a monoprint. That means it's one of a kind. I can't make another one exactly like this. This is the project for my youngest artist that we'll be doing today. We're also going to be learning a new word called symmetry. My second type of project that we're going to be doing is this is the one for older kids, 6 and up. This is called a monotype. That means I used to play just like someone did for good fortune behind me. I carved into a styrofoam veggie tray and applied water-based markers to that and then pressed into paper. I'll show you how to do that after we do the monoprint together. Now the paint that we'll be using for our monoprint really is any kind of inexpensive student grade poster board paint or tempera that you can buy at the craft store or a Dollar Tree. You'll want objects like the ends of TP rolls, maybe a old plastic fork, some yarn in order to dip and aid in the printing process. Children love painting with different things other than just a brush. If you have a brush, that's great. If not, a Q-tip or even fingers will do. Of course, you'll need a lot of water for this particular project for rinsing your brush. If you have a rolling pin, that's great. If not, use a book or have them pat really heavy with your hands for the printing process. You'll get a better result if you do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that large piece of construction paper. Again, this is inexpensive and very absorbent. The size is about 12 by 18. You can use smaller if you have it, but children like to paint big. The bigger we paint, the more confidence we get in our artwork. So I folded it like a book in half. So now there are two sides. I'm going to leave one side closed. We're going to paint on this side. Remind the children again what symmetrical is and that we're going to be painting one half of our face. So we'll get started by painting an outline. I'm going to do it in pink this time, just for the heck of it. Get a lot of paint on that brush, and I'm going to draw half of a cookie. Using descriptive words like cookies helps children remember their shapes. So that's the shape of my face. I'm going to clean my brush. Remind them to clean their brushes a lot during this process. Then I want to put in an eye. Tell them only one of their eyes is what we'll need to paint because we're going to be printmaking the other eye. So now I have an eye on my paper And then, of course, we have to draw the mouth. Remind them again, it's just half of the mouth that we are painting in. Put in a nose. Notice how I went from the lighter colors to the darker colors? The nose is just one little nostril like that. Now let's think about the hair. Well, I think it'd be grand fun to put a combination of colors, and children love to mix. So let's just go ahead and show you what that fork technique looks like. They'll dip in the fork. And they'll paint with a fork. You can also do this with cut pieces of sponge, TP rolls for stamps. You're basically stamping on the paper. This needs to go pretty fast. Maybe I'll even do some bangs. And then I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to dip it in what I have left of my yellow. And then we're just going to lay that down on our paper like so. Isn't it cute? It's already cute, just half of a face. Then we're going to open up the paper and then press it on the other side. Here's where the magic comes in. So we're going to roll our rolling pin. Boy, can you imagine how much fun your children will have using a rolling pin on this? Press pretty hard. Pat with our fingers. Mush everything down really nice all over. And then open it up and we'll have our print. How cute is that? And there you go. You've made a print. You'll be using many of the same supplies that you used for our printmaking for little ones, for printmaking for big kids. Make sure and print off that lesson plan from online.stcdm.org. You'll be using that rolling pin again. This time it's really important to have that rolling pin. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. A bowl of clean water with a clean new cellulose sponge. You'll also be collecting food trays for this project. Really juicy water-based markers. The newer the better. Old ones just don't do well for this particular project. A ballpoint pen or a pencil. Again, that same inexpensive construction paper. A smaller size is fine this time. You can even use other colors if you like. You're going to cut the edges off of the styrofoam because we want nice flat tiles. You're going to end up with a tile that is about 4x4 or 3x4 or 3x3. Not too big this time. I usually like to have the kids make big artwork, but part of the fun of printmaking is being able to make multiple images of the same thing. So a small tile that's clean. And then what you can do is you can trace that tile onto a piece of copier paper. That'll give the kids the right size to draw an image inside. Something simple like a ladybug is really a great image to be doing. Here I did a chicken before. They can even do different designs and combine them with their printmaking. Simple line drawings. Now, After they've drawn them, cut them out. Then use tape on the back of your tile and on the drawing to make a hinge that goes over the styrofoam. This is going to help keep the drawing stable while the children trace it, either with a nice sharp pencil or a pen. Then what you're left is a very high relief. You should be able to see all the details. Now you can start doing the fun stuff, the coloring. I'll show you a plate that I colored earlier of my other design, the flower. You're just going to use your water-based markers on top of the styrofoam. You should be able to see lots of the texture and lines that you did before. You're just going to go over your ladybug or whatever you're drawing, just like you would a coloring page. And there is our blue ladybug with pink spots ready to be printed. You can see where the ink just sits on top of the styrofoam, except where I pressed in the deep indentations. That's what a relief print is all about, taking advantage of high and low places and then stamping it. Let's get to stamping now. I've got my inexpensive construction paper sitting on a paper towel. I've got a damp sponge, and then I'm going to start pulling that damp sponge over the surface of my paper. Take my first plate, and then I'm just going to flip that tile right upside down on the paper, just like that. I'm going to use my rolling pin and just roll, roll, roll right on top, making sure that the tile doesn't slip around while I do that. That should be just about right. Transfer the image onto the paper. This is printmaking. Lift it carefully, and I've got most of my print. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my ladybug. I'm just going to flip that upside down on that damp paper and roll, roll, roll it. And there you go. I have a really cool print. So here is my final product. I rinsed the tiles, recolored them, pressed them into the construction paper a few more times, and you can see what a fun artwork this ended up being. For more online activities from the San Diego Children's Discovery Museum that move children's hearts, minds, and get their hands busy, go to online.sdcdm.org.